Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and today we have some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and another episode of Dear Nero, which of course is the weekly series here on my channel where subscribers send me in fan mail and or fan questions, and I do best to go and answer them. Perhaps you are a new subscriber. I know I have a lot of new subscribers after all the Black Ops 3 content that's been going up on the channel lately. This is a weekly Q&A that I do, where subscribers send me in questions via YouTube personal messages, and I pick out a few every single week and read them off and actually go ahead and answer them here in the video. And it's just a weekly series we've been doing for over 150 weeks now, so hopefully you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy the video while we play some Black Ops 3 for you here in the background. The first question he is going to write: Dear Nero, if you could change one thing in Black Ops 3 before the game releases, what would you change? Your longtime subscriber, Johan from Sweden. So Johan, you're definitely a longtime subscriber. I definitely remember that name. I think I've read off your name a couple times here in Dear Nero so far. If I could change one thing in Black Ops 3 before the game releases, what would I change? So far, there's only actually two things that kind of bother me, at least from the PlayStation 4 version of the beta. There's only two things that bother me, and I actually made videos of each one. So the first one is the Black Hat, which is making its return from Black Ops 2. It's essentially like this little cell phone thing from Black Ops 2 you could pull out, and you could use it to hack enemy equipment or hack enemy care packages, but it took some time, so the opposing team actually had time to react to it. Or if like the opposing team had some kill streaks up, you could use these things to take down kill streaks. Like one Black Hat could take down a UAV, or maybe two Black Hats could take down like a stealth chopper, something like that, right? They brought it back in here to Black Ops 3, and again, there's a video of this here on my channel. They changed it around how it looks. It's more of like a, it almost looks like a speedometer gun that like police would use. It's kind of like that, but you can hack opposing score streaks and equipment and care packages and stuff like that. But now you can actually take control of the opposing team's kill streaks, which I don't think is a very cool thing. So if you have two Black Hats, you can take control of like an enemy helicopter, right? You can do that pretty easily. Or you can take control of like an enemy hater, which is like the equivalent of a Blackbird or a VSAT here in Black Ops 3. So it was always one thing for me to like put up a good kill streak, like let's say, you know, putting up a stealth chopper or something like that in Black Ops 2, putting out attack dogs or something like that, and having the opposing team like shoot down my helicopter, shoot my dogs, and make it so like my kill streaks don't get me any kills. That was one thing for them like to destroy my kill streaks, but for them to take my kill streak and then turn it against me, then make me have to stop and switch classes to shoot down the kill streak that I put in the air in the first place, like I don't like that very much. I would like for the Black Hat to go back to the Black Ops 2 way of doing things. And the other thing I wasn't really a big fan of for Black Ops 3 was actually the rejack specialist ability, which is essentially kind of like a final stand style of a specialist ability. If I had to choose between the two, like which one, like which is the lesser of two evils in my eyes anyway, I think I would rather them change the Black Hat rather than rejack. I think I could live with rejack. It's honestly not the biggest thing in the world. That's why I said in the video it wasn't the biggest thing in the world. It was just kind of an annoyance and definitely an inconvenience of something that I don't think I would like to see in the game when it makes its full release in November. But I think I can live with rejack as compared to Black Hats. I think Black Hats in their current state would be super annoying when the game makes its full launch. So I'll definitely change that, because again, it's one thing for the opposing team to like shoot down your kill streaks. That's kind of a to be expected, and if they don't, then great, but if they do, you can't get too mad about it because it's part of the game, right? But for them to take control of your kill streak and then start dying to the kill streak that you put up in the air and have to switch classes to shoot down your kill streak, like that just seems like a slap in the face to a player that's good enough to actually earn kill streaks. Next question he is going to write: Dear Nero, I downloaded the Black Ops 3 beta last night on Xbox One. I've always been an above average player when playing Call of Duty, but after 6 hours of playing last night, I was left very frustrated with around a 1 KD. It seems to me that I'm constantly being shot from the side, being outgunned when I really shouldn't be. So my question to you is, did you go through this situation on the PlayStation 4, and do you have any tips that could help me out? Thanks, Ben from Maine. P.S. Really enjoyed your Hearthstone, the Grand Tournament pack opening. Well, thank you, Ben, first and foremost, for checking out the videos over there on Nero's Let's Plays. We actually, just because this week's Dear Nero is going up a day late because I got such a late start to it yesterday that I decided instead of uploading Dear Nero like super late at night, I'll just wait and save it for the morning. I'll record in the morning and upload it in the morning. But yeah, we actually just put up this week's Tavern Brawl over there on Nero's Let's Plays as well. So if you enjoy my Hearthstone videos, there's definitely a good amount of them over there on Nero's Let's Plays. But to get to your question, you say that you downloaded the beta last night, and this question was actually sent the day after the Xbox One beta actually came out. So he's talking about like opening night of the Xbox One beta for Black Ops 3, and he says he's always been an above average player, but after playing 6 hours of the beta on opening night, you left frustrated with about a 1 kill death ratio. You feel like you're constantly being shot from the side or being outgunned when you really shouldn't be. Did I go through the same problem? Not so much, to be perfectly honest. I never felt like I was really being shot from the side too much. I feel as though Black Ops 3 is a lot better than like Advanced Warfare or Ghost, for example, in that you know where the opposing team's usually going to be coming from, or at least I do. Maybe it's like a natural thing that just came to me. Maybe it's something about the game that clicks with me, because of course, like certain people are just naturally good at certain games, I suppose. But I never really felt like I was like going to be shot from the side a lot while playing Black Ops 3. I actually constantly knew where the opposing team was going to be coming from, at least, and so because of that, most of my gunfights were face-to-face. Now, you said that you felt like you were getting outgunned, but you shouldn't be. I felt the same way, to be honest, for a lot of the PS4 beta, especially when I first started playing. I felt like, how am I being outgunned right now? But I think a big part of it is you're not used to the game. You're not used to the game. I'm not used to the game. We don't know exactly how many bullets it takes to kill with every single gun. We're not completely comfortable with it. Like, I could take like a UMP-45 from Modern Warfare 2. I could be so comfortable with that gun that I could look at somebody, pull up my sights, shoot just enough bullets to actually kill that guy, and turn away before even knowing whether or not I killed him. And I'm sure you guys can do the same thing for a lot of different guns in Call of Duty. Like, I can do that in a lot of games, but not in Black Ops 3 because I'm not 110% comfortable with the weapons. You say you have like a 1 kill death ratio? Don't worry about it, man. It's a beta. Like, I've always been the kind of person that usually cares about stats in Call of Duty to a greater or lesser extent. Like, for example, in Black Ops 2, I really pay attention to my stats. I was quite proud of my stats, like almost like a 3 KD, like a 6 win-loss ratio. I tried really hard to maintain good stats in that game. Whereas I also try to do that in Call of Duty Ghost, but in Advanced Warfare, with like the bug that they had with the combat records towards the beginning of the game, I didn't really care nearly as much about stats in this year's game. I found that if you don't care so much about your stats, you can actually have a lot more fun in Call of Duty. But the thing about the beta, man, the thing about the beta is they're going to wipe your stats regardless. Like, don't worry about your kill death ratio. Don't worry about your win-loss ratio. The point of a beta is to try and find some bugs, maybe find some things that are wrong with the game or something like that you can give feedback to the developers and hopefully influence the outcome of the game when it comes out in November. But the big part of it too is just to have fun and try to experience the game a little bit before it comes out, because this is not something that we've ever had in Call of Duty before, or at least we haven't had it since 2008, the last time they had a beta. So you're actually able to experience Black Ops 3 before it even comes out. The whole point of it is to just have some fun, man. Try and get used to the guns, try and get used to the movement system, try and get used to the Black Ops 3 way of doing things, and decide for yourself whether or not you are going to be excited for Black Ops 3. So my advice is not to worry about your kill death ratio in the beta. Don't pay too much attention to that. Just try out the guns, try out the specialists, try to have fun, and just keep in mind that it's a brand new Call of Duty game. All the guns are going to be different. It feels fundamentally different, especially in terms of like the time to kill and the way the weapons perform as compared to Ghost or Advanced Warfare. Like, it's most similar, I'd say, to Black Ops 2 in terms of the time to kill and how the weapons perform, but even then it's a brand new game and that it always feels different. So don't worry about it, man. Like, you say you're having trouble with it, you felt frustrated. Hopefully, by the time you're actually hearing this, hearing me answer your question, it has been a couple of days since you sent in the question. Hopefully, you've kind of evened things out on the beta and you're having a lot more fun with it. Because, again, I felt like I was getting outgunned a lot, but I was like, maybe it's because I don't understand the weapons. And the more I played the beta, the more I found myself being the guy that was doing a lot of the outgunning. So, yeah, just keep at it, man. I think you'll enjoy it. Black Ops 3 is definitely a fun game in my own personal opinion. One of the best Call of Duty games to be released in a very long time. And that's just judging it from the beta. It's pretty amazing in my own personal opinion. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I understand that at the moment you want to cover Black Ops 3 as it is a new game coming out, but will you be returning to making Battlefield 4 videos in the future? More DLC is coming to it soon, like in September, the spring patch is coming, plus night operations, plus the community map, and more. Your Battlefield videos are my favorite. I really want you to do more. Ruben from Australia. So Ruben, oh god, I forgot Battlefield 4 was even a game. Like, it has been so long since I played Battlefield 4. Of course, Battlefield Hardline came out, and I played a little bit of that at launch, but I'll be honest, like, it really wasn't my cup of tea. It didn't really feel that much like a Battlefield game. Like, it felt the same, like, in terms of the mechanics, the way you move, the way the guns perform, the way a lot of the vehicles performed versus, like, some of the military-style vehicles that we saw in, like, Battlefield 4. They perform pretty similar, so it felt like a Battlefield game, but the setting, like, I couldn't get into the setting. Like, what I always liked most about Battlefield games was you really kind of felt like you were a soldier out there in the thick of things, because the maps were giant. Like, it was such, like, a stark contrast between Call of Duty and Battlefield. Like, in Call of Duty, it's like this very close quarters, almost arcadey style of a shooter, whereas in Battlefield, like, the maps are so giant. Like, I'll be in a helicopter, and then, like, our helicopter will get shot down. I'll jump out of the helicopter, go flying through the air, use my parachute last second, land in the jungle somewhere, and then kind of lone wolf it towards an objective. And that objective might be 5 minutes away for me walking on foot, and I might encounter some people on the way. I might encounter some vehicles I try and take out. Like, it's a lot different of a game. It's definitely it's crazy. Battlefield's definitely a fun game. I just wish it was as smooth as Call of Duty. I think that's something I think a lot of us would like. Battlefield definitely feels clunkier. It always has been for me. Maybe it's because most of it runs on 30 FPS, but Battlefield's always been a very fun game. Battlefield 4 was the last Battlefield game I really was into. I didn't really get that much into Hardline, like I was just mentioning. I think I'm almost level 100 in Battlefield 4, something along those lines. Like, I got close to it. I know they raised level cap since then, but level 100 at the time was the level cap, and I almost reached it. I put days upon days upon days of playtime into Battlefield 4. It was almost like a mini addiction for a while. Will I go back to it? Probably, to be honest. I mean, the way it always works with Call of Duty, right, is once you get towards, like, the end of the Call of Duty life cycle for that particular year, like, people start, like, trying out different games and playing different stuff. And I think the same thing is going to be happening. I think a lot of us are going to start getting kind of worn out on Advanced Warfare, although they're adding a bunch of new weapons and stuff to the game, so maybe we won't get as burnt out, because I'm definitely looking forward to the M16, the AK-47, and the Cell-3 COD Riser. That's actually got pushed back to September 1st. If you guys aren't aware, they got pushed back because they didn't want to interfere with the Black Ops 3 beta, so they pushed back the release of those weapons. But I'm definitely looking forward to those. But I think maybe a return to Battlefield might be in order. I think that could be kind of fun. Going back to Battlefield for a little bit, just messing around. What kind of videos will I make? I don't know. I've already made like different guide videos and stuff for Battlefield 4 and gameplay videos and things like that. So I don't know what exactly I would do with it. Maybe I would just use it for gameplay for Dear Nero or something like that. Or maybe I will make videos of like if there is new DLC, which I've been so far out of the loop. If there is a new DLC, maybe I'll make videos out of that or something. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, I would definitely not rule out the idea of more Battlefield 4 videos coming to the channel before Black Ops 3 actually makes its full release. Next question. He is going to write, Dear Nero, last weekend I made your favorite food, which is shepherd's pie, and it was absolutely delicious. It was the first time I'd ever tried it, and I'm glad to say it didn't disappoint. My question to you is, have you ever been interested in cooking? It's been a hobby of mine for some time now, and I've gotten pretty good at it. Keep up the excellent content, especially the Black Ops 3 stuff. Cameron from Kansas. So Cameron tried out shepherd's pie. Freaking amazing. So everybody makes shepherd's pie supposedly, I guess, different. I guess most families make most things different. Like the way that like I make spaghetti is gonna be different than the way that like most of you guys make spaghetti, probably. Like different sauce, different stuff going in it. Like people make food differently, right? But generally, what shepherd's pie is, you can do Google images of it if you've never actually tried it. It's essentially like a casserole of like a really good dinner. So you basically take beef and you take mashed potatoes and you take like corn. Some people put green beans in there. Maybe you put ketchup in there and stuff. You put like all the different kinds of food that you have like in a normal meal. You gotta put it all together in like this casserole, and it's freaking delicious. Like it is just so good. Do I like cooking? That's a big question here. No, I hate it actually. Like I don't. Okay, so this is weird. If I'm playing like an RPG game, right? If I'm playing Elder Scrolls, right? If I'm playing WoW, I'm playing any RPG style game that requires hunting, surviving, cooking, like even Minecraft, like hardcore survival, right? We used to do that and stuff. I used to always love the concept of cooking in video games. Like, oh boy, I'm leveling my cooking skill. Oh boy, let's go kill this bear. Then if I kill this bear, I can take its steak, meat, whatever stuff, and I can go and cook it. I can level up my cooking and make it so I can unlock more things. I like cooking in video games, but I don't like cooking in real life. How does that make any sense? I don't know. I think it comes from a source of laziness. But yeah, cooking's I said hooking's a good hobby. Cooking is a good hobby, not hooking. That's a horrible hobby. If you're hooking, you should probably stop that. Cooking is a good hobby, and there's actually a lot of television shows. Like if you go to like the freaking Food Channel or something like that, like there's like so many shows now dedicated to like cooking and making different things. It's kind of insane. So yeah, I think it's an interesting hobby, but for whatever reason, it's something that I never personally got into, and I think, again, that comes from a super source of laziness, to be honest. Like, fast food is just, like, so much easier a lot of the time, or stuff I can just microwave, or stuff I can throw into the oven real quick, which I don't even consider to be cooking. So, like, yeah, it's definitely a source of laziness. But again, if you're doing any hooking, you should probably stop that. It's a terrible lifestyle. Next question. He is going to write, Dear Nero, in your recent Black Ops 3 Prestige video, you talked about the slow leveling process and your opinions. I personally wouldn't be against slower leveling rates in Black Ops 3 because I lost interest in the Advanced Warfare leveling grind because it seemed to go too quick. I was already 3rd Prestige by the time I had 1.5 days of playtime. My question is, with a slower rate of leveling, would that bring back more of an achievement factor from reaching a new Prestige? And this person did not leave his or her name. That is certainly a great question. It really is. And I think I could go on for a very long time discussing the idea of prestiging in Call of Duty and really what it means, right? And I definitely see your side of the argument. Would it be better if prestiging was actually a lot slower in Black Ops 3 because that would essentially add some prestige to prestiging, right? It would make it feel like you're actually earning something. And this And I've been playing Call of Duty for a long time. I've made max rank in just about every Call of Duty game. Some of the recent ones I've actually haven't. Like Call of Duty Ghosts, I just really couldn't be asked to get all the way up to the max rank. I did it in Modern Warfare 3. I did it in Black Ops 2 very, very quickly. Advanced Warfare, I'm not even close. So the past couple of Call of Duty games I've actually kind of slacked a bit. But I think a big part of that too is I'm actually doing YouTube now as compared to back then when I wasn't. So a lot of my time cannot just be playing the game. I'm actually making content about the game and actually, working and stuff like that. So it is making it so playing the game I can't do as much as I used to back in the day. But I've made the max rank in a lot of different Call of Duty games. And I can say that when I first started playing Call of Duty, when I would see somebody that was a high prestige, it felt cool. Like, it's like, wow, that guy's gotta be really good. Like, he was a gold cross in COD 4. Like, the 10th prestige logo was a gold cross. And if you saw somebody that was 10th prestige, you generally thought they were a good player. Of course, rarely was that actually true, but you would think that they would be a good player. But that's the thing about prestiging in Call of Duty. Your prestige in Call of Duty has never necessarily meant that you're going to be a good player, because I think we can all point out several instances throughout our Call of Duty careers where you would run into somebody that is max rank in the game, and they would just be terrible players. Like, it would just be bad. That's because Call of Duty, you level up based upon how much time you actually want to put into the game rather than how good you actually are at the game. You could have somebody that has 40 days of play time but can't shoot the broadside of a barn, and they'll make it to max rank in the game eventually just by capturing objectives, getting assists, getting kills and whatnot. It's something that's not very hard to do, and each game is different in terms of its prestige system. So in my opinion, like the way I remember it anyway, it's been a long time obviously since I did any leveling in that game, but Modern Warfare 2 seemed to be the slowest prestige system of all the Call of Duty games. It seemed to take like well over a day of playtime per prestige in that game. Then you look at like Black Ops 2, which is the game I'm assuming the prestige system in Black Ops 3 is going to be most similar to. Black Ops 2, God, the leveling was so fast, right? Like, I remember I hit Prestige Master in that game with like 5 days of playtime. Like, it was absurdly fast, whereas in older Call of Duty games like Modern Warfare 2, if you want to hit 10th Prestige, it would take you, I'm just going to estimate 20 days of playtime, 15 days maybe if you played only Search and Destroy. Like, it was definitely a very long grind. Like, it took a very, very long time. COD 4 was kind of the same way if you wanted to get 10th Prestige. Even though I think it's kind of hard because we're looking back with these rose-tinted goggles, we were all definitely bad players back then, right? 2007, 2008, 2009, we were all terrible. Let's admit it, we were all terrible players compared to now. So, like, the skill level we all had back then was not nearly as good as what it is today. Obviously, you should get better over time. So even then, though, I picture, even as somebody that played like exclusively Search and Destroy, like it took me like 15 days of playtime to hit 10th Prestige or so in COD 4. Same for World at War. It took for freaking ever, it seemed like. So in these recent games, like you look at Advanced Warfare, you look at Black Ops 2, and I suppose to a lesser extent Call of Duty Ghosts, although I think Ghost was a bit slower than this. It felt as though... Yeah, it felt as though the prestige system has been faster recently, and it's kind of taking away that achievement factor, I suppose, from prestiging. Like, you don't feel as good whenever you hit a prestige as compared to when it takes longer. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I really don't know. I really couldn't tell you. Like, I think it's kind of fun getting, like, constant rewards, right? I think people like the idea of constant rewards. So, like, whenever you're leveling up and, you play a couple games, you level up, you unlock a new gun, you unlock a new perk, you unlock a new something. People like that. If you're constantly being fed rewards, you're going to feel better while playing the game, and you're going to enjoy it a little bit more. But at the same time, you're going to lose a bit of that satisfaction of actually achieving something that you feel as though was actually hard to achieve. So if you get to max rank in the game, it only takes you 5 days of playtime. In Call of Duty, that really isn't that much. And it may seem absurd to say, yeah, you only played 5 days of playtime. You only put in like 100 hours into this game. You're not even that good. Like, it seems absurd to say about most games, but 5 days in Call of Duty really isn't a lot, especially for the people that watch this channel, people that, like us, have been fans of Call of Duty for a very long time. And to get max rank in 5 days seems kind of quick, so I would think it'd be nice maybe if they were to have a nice medium. Like, I don't want it to take 15, 20 days to hit 10th Prestige in Black Ops 3. I don't want that to be the case, but I don't necessarily want it to take 3 days of playtime either. Maybe a nice middle ground, maybe make it so it takes maybe 7, maybe make it a bit slower than Black Ops 2, but not nearly as slow as Modern Warfare 2. I think that would be a nice medium ground. But yeah, I think I could go on for a very long time talking about prestiging a Call of Duty and really what it means, but I'm not going to do that so much here in this video. I basically covered most of the big points I would like to cover on the topic here with this question. But yeah, I can definitely see your point of view in that prestiging in like Call of Duty Ghosts, maybe prestiging in Black Ops 2, like doesn't feel as good because you're leveling up so quickly. Like, I remember prestiging twice in the same weekend in Advanced Warfare because it was a double XP weekend, and it was they had Search and Destroy, obviously, which is like the best place to level up if you're looking to level up very quickly. And so, like, in one day, I ended up paying a prestige, then I grinded through like the rest of the Prestige all in one day, like just because we had double XP and Search and Destroy. So it can be definitely very quick with double XP weekends and Search and Destroy and stuff. But yeah, I would like Prestige to maybe be a little bit slower, but not super slow. Like I don't want to go with a snail's pace either, but I don't want it to be ridiculously fast. I think, yeah, that's basically all I'd like to say on the topic, I suppose. I can go on for a very long time, I think, but I think those are the main points of it. I would like the Prestige system maybe be a little bit slower than what it was in Black Ops 2 or Advanced Warfare, but I would like it to be not as slow as what it was, for example, in Modern Warfare 2, where it seemed to take forever. Next question. He is going to write, Dear Nero, it's been a while since I've sent in anything for Dear Nero, and it's actually been equally as long since I had a falling out with the Call of Duty scene. With Black Ops 3 on the horizon, I actually find myself interested in a Call of Duty game again, so I was wondering, do you think this is a good entry in the series to get back into the series with? No guarantees I'll actually pick it up. I just want to hear your thoughts. Enjoy the Wednesday! Galen, no longer from New York, but from North Carolina. So Galen, is this going to be a good game to come back to? Maybe you haven't been playing Call of Duty for a number of years now, and you're thinking of actually making a return. You're thinking of coming back to the Call of Duty series. Do I think Black Ops 3 is going to be a good game to do so? That's completely subjective. It's very, very subjective, but in my own opinion, I think Black Ops 3 is one of the best Call of Duty games to come out in a very long time. Maybe possibly the best Call of Duty game ever, because I had so much fun with the beta when it was out on the PS4. I had so much fun with it. And with the Xbox One, I'm actually yet to install the freaking thing because I've been busy doing videos and stuff like that. But I'm installing it this morning or / afternoon. I'm going to start playing it. I'm going to start grinding it out today. But I've been having a ton of fun with the beta. I put in like 2 days of playtime into 5 or 6 days it was actually out on the PS4. Like I played it a freaking ton. It feels good, right? So if you're somebody that hasn't been in the Call of Duty scene for a while, and maybe that could be for a number of reasons. Maybe you haven't been liking the recent Call of Duty games, for example. Maybe you didn't like the way Modern Warfare 3 was. Maybe you didn't like the way Ghost was. Maybe you didn't like the way Advanced Warfare was. Maybe you didn't like the way Black Ops 2 was. Or maybe you didn't like the way any of these things have been. Like, if you like the way Black Ops 2 played, then you'll probably like Black Ops 3. It feels similar. Like, the recoil is there, but maybe even it's a bit heavier in Black Ops 3. Like, the recoil is there. The time to kill is slower, similar to Black Ops 2. The maps have flow similar to what they were like in Black Ops 2. The art style is kind of similar to Black Ops 2, but of course it's a lot different because there's specialist abilities and there's new kill streaks and new guns and new maps and everything. Everything that entails with a new Call of Duty game. But if I had to compare it to another Call of Duty game, it's most similar to Black Ops 2, but of course it's a bit different. There's a whole new movement system and everything. If maybe you didn't like Black Ops 2, you probably won't like Black Ops 3 as much, but I would still say give it a shot, and that's very, very easy to do at this day and age. Gamefly, local movie stores, anything. You could rent a Call of Duty game, and you could try it out online because there's no like pass to be able to actually have to, you know, buy the game and use a code to actually get access to the online. So you borrow the game from a friend, you rent the game, you get it from Gamefly, Redbox, wherever, and try out the game. I think you will like it, and if you don't like it, that's fine. You didn't spend the $60 on the game. But do I think Black Ops 3 is going to be a good game to come back to? Again, it's completely subjective. If you like the Treyarch style of doing things, if you enjoyed World at War, if you enjoyed Black Ops 1, you enjoyed Black Ops 2, you're probably going to enjoy Black Ops 3 because it has that same classic Treyarch feel to it. If maybe you didn't like the Treyarch games, you prefer the Infinity Ward style of doing things, maybe you prefer the Sledgehammer style of doing things with Advanced Warfare, then maybe you wouldn't like it as much because it definitely feels a lot different compared to the Infinity Ward or Sledgehammer style of doing things. Because that's what's kind of nice about Call of Duty 2 is because we have 3 developers now. Each developer has like their own distinct feel to their games, and that's definitely a good thing. So maybe if you're somebody that's kind of like burnt out on the idea of one of the developers, there's going to be another developer that maybe does make games the way that you like them to be made. So that's a good thing. For me personally, I like the way just most of them run, except for Infinity Ward. Like, Infinity Ward needs to change some things. I don't know what Infinity Ward needs to change. Actually, I could go on for a very long time with what Infinity Ward needs to change. But with the commercial flop that was Call of Duty Ghosts, I feel as though Infinity Ward's going to be making some very drastic changes with their next game. So I'm thinking that the next Infinity Ward game is definitely going to be pretty interesting with what they're going to do. But yeah, should you come back to Call of Duty for Black Ops 3, I say try it out for yourself because it's completely subjective. But in my own opinion, I think it's a fantastic game. And if you've always found yourself maybe agreeing with me on a lot of things, then yeah, definitely try out Black Ops 3 because in my own opinion, Black Ops 3 is freaking fantastic. Next and final question for this week's episode of Dear Nero, he is going to write, Dear Nero, I know you have mentioned in episode 157 of Dear Nero that a bad year for Call of Duty is a good year for any other game. But do you think that when Call of Duty is on its last dying breath, that Activision will release Call of Duty Online in the West along with a Zombies collection from Treyarch as a failsafe Also, stay awesome from Anonymous. So Anonymous, when Call of Duty is on its last dying breath, it's on its last leg, we took them out behind the barn, we're about ready to put Call of Duty down. Will Activision press that button to release Call of Duty Online in Western markets? I definitely think they're going to at some point. I think it's all but inevitable at this point. I've talked about this in several videos, I think, where I think remasters are going to be coming to the Call of Duty franchise sooner rather than later. I think the soonest it's going to happen probably, though, is probably in 2017 when Call of Duty 4 hits its 10-year anniversary. They're probably going to do a COD 4 remake in 2017 for its 10-year anniversary. That just seems to make sense, as it was also the Call of Duty that really started it all. You know, they add in for the first time prestige systems and kill streaks and perks and create a class. Like, COD 4 was like the revolutionary Call of Duty, right? And so I think they're going to do that in 2017. I think there's going to be a COD 4 remake. And then maybe at that point, they could, I've made videos about it, they could kick off a yearly remaster kind of system where they remaster all of the older Call of Duty games. Because by that point, by the year 2017, all of these games are going to be ridiculously old. Like, it's going to be like the 10-year anniversary for like almost every single game. Every single year a new remaster ends up coming out. So they're all going to be very dated, and they're all going to be so old that it's going to feel good to kind of remaster them. Like, give them new graphics, give them this, that, and the other, and like kind of remind people like, hey, remember this game, remember how much fun this was? It seems like an all but an inevitability in my own opinion. Now, you may be wondering what Call of Duty Online is. Maybe you're somebody that doesn't know what Call of Duty Online is. Actually, search for my Call of Duty Online video. I actually think I have 2 of them, maybe. Call of Duty Online is a Call of Duty game that's coming to China, right? They're trying to bring in the Chinese market with this game, and essentially what it is, it's being made by Raven Software, who helped out with Modern Warfare 3. What they're doing with the game is they're going to be taking guns, maps, and kill streaks from COD 4, World at War, Modern Warfare 2, and the original Black Ops, and throwing them all together in a quote-unquote best of a Call of Duty game, where, yeah, it's just that. It's going to feature maps from all 4 of those games. Not all the maps from those games, but, like, the best ones of them. And they're going to feature guns from those games. Not all of them, but, like, the best ones and the best kill streaks. They're going to be putting them all together in a game. They're going to be remastering a lot of these maps and, like, changing how they look. So, for example, they're changing Favela from Modern Warfare 2. It's going to be in Call of Duty Online. It's going to be in the game, but it's going to be Tropical Favela. So, they're going to be changing it to have, like, a more tropical look to it. They're doing the same thing for Crash from Call of Duty 4. That's also going to be there, but it's going to be like Tropical Crash, so that's going to be a lot different. I mentioned the game's free to play. That's a thing too. It's not going to cost you anything if you want to play it. And yeah, how mad are you about that? That game sounds freaking amazing. Like, but they're only releasing it in China, sadly. So yeah, there's trailers and stuff that you can see, but I definitely recommend checking out my Call of Duty Online video, because it shows like every trailer ever made while I discuss the game itself and show off a lot of different aspects of the game. But right now, it's only coming to China because we're trying to bring in the Chinese market. And yeah, it's also going to have zombies mode in it, and they're going to be remaking zombies from World at War in there. They're going to be cyborg zombies, because apparently real zombies are very taboo in China, like dead, rotting people. Like, that's a thing. I remember reading something, actually, that it's so taboo for, like, zombies and stuff like that in China, or at least in that part of the world, that, like, World of Warcraft, when they made their Chinese version, like, the undead race in that game, like, they don't look undead, they just look like normal people, kind of. It's like they're really against over there the idea of having, like, zombies or dead people or whatever, so they're changing around zombies completely in that game to be cyborg zombies, which are going to be like robot zombies and stuff. Like, they're changing around a lot of things. They're changing around the maps and the guns and stuff, and it's at the same time going to be a best of Call of Duty game. It's going to be fantastic. Do I think that if Call of Duty's ever on its last leg, will they release it as a failsafe? I think they're going to release it before even Call of Duty gets on its last leg, because I think there's going to be such feedback from the community that, yes, we would like these best of Call of Duty games, we would like these remastered Call of Duty games, and if they're going to sell as good as the new games, I can definitely see, you know, them actually going ahead and making remasters as well as kind of like best of collections. So, for example, what if they were to make a game that's like the best of Treyarchs? They take stuff from World at War, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, throw it all together in one game. You know, the best guns, best maps, best kill streaks, put them all together in a game. Best of Infinity Ward, you know, COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Ghost even, maybe, who knows, throw them all together in a game. Same for Sledgehammer. That stuff is all but guaranteed in my mind. I definitely think it's going to happen, but it's going to be happening in the future, right? Call of Duty is going to be a very successful franchise for a long time, so maybe they would have to see some big declines in sales before they start doing remasters, but at the same time, they can do what they're already doing now with Call of Duty Online. You get like an off studio like Raven Software to do these remasters while still having Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, and Treyarch all, you know, still churning out a new Call of Duty game every single year, and then just have off studios like Raven Software and stuff actually end up putting together these remaster games. It's entirely possible they'll do that, but yeah, I think it's all but guaranteed that stuff is going to happen. It's just going to be a few years before it actually happens. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to conclude this week's episode of Dear Nero. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. And if you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel it deserves. And of course, if you guys would like to submit your questions for next week's episode of Dear Nero, you can simply send me a personal message here on YouTube. To do so, you go to my YouTube channel, go to the About tab, and from there you will find a Send Message button. If I could ask just one thing of you, if you do submit a question for Dear Nero, please put Dear Nero at the very beginning of your question. That way, when I'm scrolling through all of my personal messages here on YouTube, I can easily identify the ones that were specifically sent for Dear Nero as compared to personal messages that may have been sent for other things, right? So be sure to start your message off with Dear Nero, followed by your question, and you have a chance to be featured on next week's episode of Dear Nero. But just keep in mind that I do read just about every single question that's submitted for Dear Nero, but I may not feature all of them because I feel as though some of them I've answered a bunch of times. Maybe some of them don't really fit well into the flow of the show, whatever. You know, for those there could definitely be a number of reasons why I may feature or may not feature a certain question, but be sure to submit your question and you have a chance to be featured on next week's episode of Dear Nero. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Remember to leave a rating. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.